Taiwan is an island state entity that is formally part of China. However, in fact, Taiwan has very broad independent powers with regard to domestic policy and international relations, and even recognized as a separate state by 14 countries. And through the trade and cultural representations available on the territory of Taiwan, it maintains relations with almost the whole world. An interesting fact is that until 1971, Taiwan was even among the permanent members of the UN Security Council. Today, Taiwan's economy is about the 20th largest in terms of GDP in the world, behind such countries as Sweden and Israel. And in terms of purchasing power parity per capita, Taiwan is ahead of France, Austria, Italy, China as a whole and others. The basis of well-being is the production of microelectronics. Taiwan accounts for more than 60% of the global output of semiconductor microelectronics, and this is a controlling stake in the production of processors and other components for the necessary devices, from mobile phones and computers, to guided missile guidance systems. In the context of the growing digitalization of all spheres of people's lives, the management of such assets, along with energy resources, is one of the conditions for global dominance. Hence, there is an increased interest of the United States in the independence of Taiwan, and as a consequence, the political and economic containment of China. And serious and comprehensive efforts are being made in this direction, including arms supplies to Taiwan, stimulating the creation of their own weapons, as well as the buildup of American troops in the region. The ruling elites in Taiwan are also increasingly opposed to mainland China and to rapprochement with the United States. Taiwan has its own armed forces numbering about 300,000 people, with a military budget of about $12 billion. The armed forces consist of the ground forces, the Air Force, the Navy and the support forces. There is also a very impressive reserve consisting of more than 3 million people. There is its own military industry, although today most of the weapons are imported, mainly American-made. And recently there has been a significant increase in the supply of such weapons. However, there are also samples of our own Taiwanese production, which we will try to tell you in more detail in one of the following videos. The ground forces are armed with about 1,000 tanks. Basically, these are obsolete American M60, M48 and light M41, the supply of 100 modern M1A2 Abrams, about 2,000 armored combat vehicles, about 200 of which are modern Taiwanese SM-32 Clouded Leopard, and the rest are obsolete American M113 and LAV-150 armored personnel carriers is also being considered. The artillery has about 1,500 self-propelled and towed guns, all mostly American. 330 MLRS Kung Fung mainly of own production. Recently, American MLRS have been supplied. About 200 old self-propelled mortars of the M106 and M125 type are also made in the USA. The anti-tank armament consists of modern TOW ATGMs and Javelin. In addition, last year Taiwan successfully launched a new cruise missile Yunfeng with a firing range of more than 1,000 kilometers. Taiwan's armed forces have a fairly powerful ground-based air defense group. These are more than 300 SAM launchers, including their own Tiangong 1, 2 and 3, American Patriot, Improved Hawk, Chaparral and Avenger, as well as about 50 Stinger manpads. The Army aviation is represented by about 100 Apache and Cobra combat helicopters. There are also about 40 multipurpose O-58 and 100 Blackhawk, Mohawk and Chinook transport helicopters. The Taiwan Air Force consists of 45,000 military personnel, 420 combat, 26 special, 50 transport and 100 training aircraft. Combat aircraft are represented by American F-16, F-5, French Mirage 2000 and own FCK-1 Chingkuo. In the near future, the United States plans to supply 60 more F-16 fighters, as well as SLAM-er air-launched cruise missiles. Special aviation consists of 13 reconnaissance F-5 and long-range radar detection E-2 Hawkeye. Transport aircraft are mainly represented by C-130 Hercules and Boeing 737. The Navy has 4 submarines in service, Dutch and American-made. In addition, according to the information available on the web, Taiwan is also building its own submarines. There are also 4 destroyers in service, all once delivered from the USA, 22 frigates of American, French production and Taiwanese copies under a U.S. license. 14 corvettes, all of their own manufacture, 31 Taiwanese missile boats, as well as support ships. The United States plans to supply Harpoon anti-ship missiles to Taiwan's coastal troops in the near future. The number of the Navy is approximately 40,000 people, including 10,000 Marines. As you can see, Taiwan has quite impressive armed forces. However, the Taiwanese army does not go into any comparison with the armed forces of the People's Republic of China. Given this, the United States is considering possible options for a direct conflict with China over the islands. But whether the Americans are actually ready to fight with China and die for Taiwan, and especially alone, is a big question. And the US elites are well aware of this. But China with great confidence will fight for the islands with full dedication. And the leadership of the PRC in this matter is fully supported by its own population. There are both political and purely economic prerequisites for this. After all, 60% of microelectronics supplies for the state needs of China and large companies such as Huawei are carried out from Taiwan. In the USA, they understand this perfectly well. And now in the Asia-Pacific region, the search for foreign hands with which the Americans intend to fight against China is in full swing. Yes, last year, the so-called AUKUS Ocean Alliance appeared to contain China, which includes the United States, Great Britain and Australia. However, this is not a solution either. Neither the UK nor Australia have an open confrontation with China in the region. At the same time, in January 2022, Japan and Australia signed an agreement on strengthening cooperation in the field of security. This is nothing more than a step towards the expansion of a new military alliance. And it is precisely Japan, together with the Taiwan Army, that is prescribed to be cannon fodder in the event of an open conflict over Taiwan. Despite the fact that the United States itself will remotely help them, including performing the function of nuclear deterrence. Of course, many different factors are not taken into account here, including individual disputes between China and India and others. And a comparison of the new Pacific Union and China will be carried out in one of the following videos. Subscribe to the channel, rate the video, write comments, see you soon.